So this amazing little machine that's just going past me now is the Spider ILD 02, and it's a mower if you didn't know what it was, and Andrew's used it in his business for about 2.5 years now, and it's just a way of getting into those previously inaccessible areas. But listen up, and Andrew will give us a good run through on how it's working well in his company and where he can get to and what it can do for him.
I use the Spider here to do most of the vegetation control here on the steep batters as safety requirements. Also use it on various sites for commercial and government and private uses. It's good on dam areas and all steep areas. It'll do anywhere up to 38 degrees unwinched, and you're 38 to sort of 50 odd degrees with the winch, whereas you can't get it right on to do anything really over 15 degrees. And as for brush cutting, you could do it with harnesses. But for what you can do with this machine in an hour, it'll take about 15 blokes to do the same area with brush cutters. With the remote, it gives us the whole feature of we can either be on top of a batter or the bottom of a batter or a steep area. It eliminates the whole fact of a rollover and you falling off and getting crushed by a machine, because if the machine happens to roll over and goes down an embankment, you're not on it. It's a Kawasaki 25 horsepower. It's a petrol motor. It just runs down into the PTO, which drives 4 independent blades. It's four-wheel drive, four-wheel steer, which enables it to go obviously up, down, left, right. It can go on a dance pattern, as they call it, which is on an angle across an embankment, even on the flat areas. It's not a complex machine. I mean, I've had other machine experience, so it sort of was a bit of an advantage. But as for somebody as an outsider, once you sort of get 20 to 30 hours, you'd be pretty well confident in your area if you're doing the same areas all the time. The biggest challenge I have is new sites, new areas. You're always learning. You obviously give it a clean all the time and lubricate. Apart from that, there's not much other maintenance, just your visual to keep an eye and inspect your belts and chains. And I think it's a fantastic machine, and would honestly, if I had the work, I'd go to another one. The other advantage we also have with this obviously is the winch. It gives us an advantage to either onto a car, onto a railing or a fixed point or a tree, and up and down steeper embankments. Once we clip on, we go forward, the winch will come up the hill, and backwards will let us release the winch. It's all automatic. If you get too steep or it loads itself up with like too much vegetation, or you get stuck on a branch or a stick or rocks or whatever, it will shut itself down and it will cut out the PTO. Also, if you have to emergency stop it or you turn the machine off on a batter or an embankment, it's got an engagement pin which will lock up all four wheels and it won't go anywhere. It goes into a lot of areas where it probably isn't really designed to, but you can use it in there. More versatile obviously than a ride-on. Being the whole advantage, you can go in, turn yourself around on the spot and come back out. The way safety's sort of going these days, it's something that I'd say a lot of contractors will start looking into. And as for a private use, well, it's like I said before, it eliminates the brush cutting or rollovers on a ride-on dams and orchards even. It's got 2 speeds. It's got the turtle and the rabbit. Turtle's slower than walking pace, and rabbit on full speed and full throttle, about 12 k's. I find it's directly up and down is sort of more efficient. You can go sideways on it, depending if you've got a fixed static line on top. It's great to go sideways because you can actually clip on with the harness. You do one pass across the top or across the bottom, then winch yourself up that next bit and go again. Whereas if you don't really have anything to harness to, it's just easy up and down. Everywhere you go, everybody wants to have a look, everybody wants to have a go. Traffic stops on the spot, so it gets a lot of attention.
If you're wondering what this has got to do with farming, I can see this having a huge future on, say, hobby farms, lifestyle farms, and some of those really top-end properties that have dam banks, features on hills and that sort of thing, and even in your vineyards for mowing up and down between the rows. Instead of running perhaps a tractor and a slasher, you can just stand at the end, follow it along and run the mower up and down between each row. But of course, as normal, we'll have a more detailed review in Farms and Farm Machinery magazine. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook as well.